Okay, Assalamualaikum everyone. So we are going to continue with our discussion on question 6. So we need to find all the angles between 0 and 360 degrees. So what does this sentence mean? Meaning here, if we have our angle theta, then theta must be strictly greater than 0 degrees and strictly less than 360 degrees. If your angle is x, then we just substitute theta with x. So x must be between 0 degrees and 360 degrees. Okay, so the limit is still the same. What will change is just your angle there. So first step, when we want to solve our first question, which is sine 2 theta is equal to 0.5293, then we need to check on our limit. So the given limit is theta must be greater than 0 degrees and less than 360 degrees. So this will be our limit for final answer. However, take note here that for our calculation, we have a different angle compared to the one given in the limit. So what we have to do is we are going to change the limit for 2 cycles. So we just multiply everything by 2 and we will get 2 theta must be greater than 0 degrees and less than 720 degrees. This will be our limit for our calculation and our workings. Next step is to check on our reference angle. So we need to find our reference angle alpha. Alpha is equal to arc sine of 0.5293. So don't forget the symbol for absolute value, and then we just key in our calculator, and the calculator will give an answer to us which is 31.59 degrees. So this is our reference angle, and then the third step is we need to determine which quadrant. Okay, so since we know here our sine 2 theta gives us a positive value, that means it will be in the first and the second quadrant. So just need to draw our quadrants. So that is our angle. Just label alpha is 31.59 degrees, and here is also alpha is 31.59 degrees. So the last step is for us to list all possible values. But take note, once we reach this step, the first thing that we list is not theta. We are going to list for 2 theta first, whatever being given in the question. So our 2 theta will be equal to, the first angle will be 31.59 degrees, and then the second angle will be the one in the second quadrant, which is 180 degrees minus 31.59 degrees. Is that it? No, we will have to go up to 2 cycle because we have 2 theta here, and our limit is up to 720 degrees. If we check, this is 0, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, and here is 360 degrees. So if we can go up to 720 degrees, that means we are going to have another cycle. So for the third angle, we just go one full rotation and then go up to the angle in the first quadrant. That will be 360 degrees plus 31.59 degrees. Okay, and then for the second angle in the second rotation, I'm going to use a different color. So we are going to have from 0 degree, one full rotation, and then we are going to the angle in the second quadrant, and that is actually we will have 540 degrees minus 31.59 degrees. So what we need to do is we just list out for 2 theta, calculate everything, and we will have 31.59 degrees. And then we will have here the next one is 148.41 degrees. The third angle will be 391.59 degrees, and the last angle will be 508.41 degrees. So take note here again. There's another thing that you have to do. The question asks for theta. Okay, so you are not being asked to find 2 theta, but instead they want us to find theta. So now before we write our final answer, we have to divide all those 4 angles by 2 because we have 2 theta there. So given theta will be equal, the first angle will be 15.795, or we can just rewrite 15.80, and then the second one will be 74.205 degrees. Okay, so let's just take all the decimal place. So 795 here, and then 74.205 degrees, and then the third one will be 195.795 degrees, and the last one will be 254.205 degrees. So when you write your final answer, you can just round off this decimal place. You can just choose theta is actually equal to 15.80 degrees, 74.21 degrees, 195.80 degrees, and last one will be 254.21 degrees. Okay, so if you take note, the difference between question 5 and question 6 is that we will have extra step here where we need to change our limit to find our limit for calculation, and then when we list all our possible values, we will have two different lists. The first one is whatever given in the question, and then the final answer is what the question asks for. Okay, so let's proceed to the second one. Second example, we have question D. You are given sine 3 theta is equal to negative 0.4446. So here again, the first step is to check on our limit. The given limit is theta must be between 0 and 360 degrees. This is for our final answer. As for our calculation, our limit will have to be changed from 0 degree and then 3 theta. Okay, so we are going to multiply everything by 3, and we will get 3 theta must be greater than 0 degrees and less than 360 degrees multiplied by 3, and that gives us 1080 degrees. That means here we are going to have how many full rotation? We are going to have 3 full rotation or 3 full cycle. Okay, so the next step is we need to find our alpha. So to find alpha, we just use the formula arcsine of negative 0.4446 in the absolute value symbol, and that gives us alpha is actually equal to 26.40 degrees. Once we know this one, we just need to observe sine 3 theta gives us a negative value. That means it will be in quadrant 3 and quadrant 4 because sine is positive in the first two quadrants. So let's just draw our quadrants here, quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. So here alpha is 26.40, and the fourth quadrant alpha is also 26.40 degrees. So now the last step is to list. First we list 3 theta. Okay, so we will have 3 theta is actually equal to, for the first rotation, we are going to have from 0 to the first angle in the third quadrant. That gives us 180 degrees plus 26.40 degrees. And then the second angle we will have from 0 degree to the angle in quadrant 4. So we will have 360 degree minus 26.40 degree. How do we find the other two rotation? This is for one rotation, and then for the second and the third rotation, what we can do is we can just take whatever the angle we have here, these two angles, and for the second rotation we are going to add 360 degrees. So 360 degrees plus, we can just immediately calculate. What we have here is 260 6.40, and then we will also have 360 degree plus 333.60. That is for our second rotation. And for the third rotation, we just add up two full rotation to the first rotation, and then we will have 720 degrees plus 206.40 degrees, and then 720 degrees plus 333.60 degrees. Okay, so take note, where do I get this value? So now we can just list up, just calculate everything. So 3 theta will actually equal to 206.40 degrees, 333.60 degrees, and then we will have 566.40 degrees, and then we will have 693.60 degrees, and the last two will be 926.40 degrees as well as 1053.60 degrees. That is all the angles for our 3 theta. So take note here, what we have to do next is we need to find theta. So we need to divide all by 3. Once we divide everything by 3, what we will have is, and hence we will have theta is equal to 68.8 degrees, and then 111.2 degrees, 188.8 degrees, 251.2 degrees, 308.8 degrees, as well as 351.2 degrees. All those value comes from the value for 3 theta. I just divide everything by 3, and if you check, all these values still satisfy the limit for our final answer, which is theta must be between 0 and 360 degrees. Okay? So all the best in answering the rest of the question.